Welcome to Cross Border Interviews, the show where we dive into the insights of municipal political leaders. Now, our mission on this show is quite simple. Shine a light on the dedicated individuals who day in and day out work around the council table to shape the communities that we all call home. And for today's episode, we are honored to be sitting down and chatting with Rural Municipality of Rosthern number 403 Councillor Gabriel Benoit. The Rural Municipality of Rosthern number 403 is a mixed farming area in Saskatchewan, established in 1912, known for cereal, oilseeds, and livestock production. It is located north of Saskatoon, nestled between the North and South Saskatchewan rivers, and includes the towns of Rosthern and Hague, along with several hamlets and valley regional parks. Across Canada, our cities, towns, villages, and rural communities are alive with stories waiting to be told. Stories of innovation and economic development, resilience in the face of the housing challenges, and the financial hurdles municipalities overcome every day. At the Cross Border Network, we bring these stories to life. From coast to coast to coast, we're connecting Canadians to the issues shaping our communities and showcasing the people working tirelessly to make them thrive. With your support, we can expand our reach, amplify more voices, and shine a light on the challenges and triumphs of municipal life. For as little as $3.99 a month, you can help us grow and continue sharing the stories that matter most. Join us today and be part of this important mission. Together, we can tell more stories, build stronger communities, and make a real difference. Support the Cross Border Network now. Visit www.crossborderinterviews.ca today. Councillor, thank you so much for sitting down with me and talking about yourself, but also talking about the Rural Municipality of Rosthern, number 403. Before we get into the community, I want to talk about you and get to know the man behind the persona a little bit. Now, you said you listened to the show, so you know the very first question that comes out of my mouth on this show, and that is, where does your sense of duty to serve your community come from, Gabriel?
This I'm going to say that I did watch a couple of the other ones, but this comes back from, I'm going to say, a very, very early age. My father was always involved in politics. I can remember discussions around the kitchen table growing up on the farm around the table, and actually he in the early 90s, well, he helped form the Reform Party out in Alberta and was elected as a member of Parliament in 1993. So he was a member.
Whoa. Are you Leon Benoit's son?
I am Leon Benoit's son. Yes.
Holy crap on a stick.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah.
I know we're not even into the intro.
Oh.
Leon and I, this is going into the show. Leon and I, he was the MP when I first moved out to Alberta, and I worked at the Lloydminster Store. So I know your father quite well.
Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, yeah, you would. I didn't know you were in Lloydminster. So, yeah, you would know. That's yeah, Dad. So, again, elected in 93, was a member of Parliament for 23 years. I'm going to say I had no choice but to be involved and kind of follow that lifestyle. And in some ways, of course, and even when I went off to college and stuff, I remember watching him on CPAC and seeing him in the house and stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to say it's always been with me. I'm going to say my whole life, basically. So.
So
yeah.
how does a boy from the Vegreville Lakeland area of Alberta find himself all the way up in the RM of Rosthern and become a councillor? Take me through that sort of step, because I can't imagine someone because I believe you were raised in the Vegreville area or Three Hills area, right?
Yeah,
okay,
the village was on a farm near Manville.
Manville, yeah, that's right. So how does a kid from Manville become the councillor from Rosthern? Take me through that journey for a few seconds.
Well, and it kind of ties in with where the hamlet I live in now, which is New Unlocked, wonderful hamlet, but basically commuter distance from Saskatoon. So 15 years ago now, my wife, through her career, got a job with the University of Saskatchewan at the hospital, the University of Saskatchewan Hospital. So we moved out there at that point. We had our first daughter there. Our second daughter was actually born in the hamlet here, at home, not by choice, but she was born in the hamlet. So, I have ties to this area a whole bunch now. But basically, I grew up on a farm, lived on acreages in Alberta. Could not see myself living in the big city of Saskatoon, which is still big to me. So we found a place that was commuter distance. And I actually worked with someone that grew up in this community, and he said it's a wonderful place to raise a family as he grew up here. And it's north of the city, so you're never driving into the sun, no matter which way direction you're going. It's not into the sun as you commute back and forth. So that's essentially how he ended up in this community. And then from there, you just start seeing the community events and things like that. And I started volunteering wherever I could, kind of thing. As
So
a Just it's always something I thought I should do. So
your political career
yeah,
is quite young. You're just a year in by the time this airs, a year into your first term in office. But I want to go back to election day for a second because there's a question I always ask first term councillors or first term elected people. Seeing your name on the ballot is a surreal experience because all the work that you've done, all the door knocking, all the talking to your neighbors, you are literally looking at the piece of paper and saying, at least I know I've gotten one vote because I'm going to go and vote for myself. For yourself, seeing your name on that ballot, what was that moment like?
yeah, that's interesting you mention that. And I'm in an organized hamlet here, so I had actually been on the hamlet board before. Now that being said, your name is still not on a ballot in that case. So this was not the first time my name was on a ballot. I had run for the Reeve here and another division in this RM previously to my own division. But seeing, I think it wasn't so much the ballot, but seeing the signs around the hamlet that I had put up, and the people that helped me put up for the campaigning, seeing my name on that sign was kind of surreal. Driving home from work every day and seeing that election sign, that always kind of struck me. And I'm going to say I'm used to seeing the last name because again I helped dad and I forget how many elections it was, putting up his signs all around the constituency growing up and stuff, and helping the people that helped him as well. But we were always involved in that kind of thing. But yeah, that was the part that kind of hit home, seeing the signs up and stuff, and talking to the people. As you're right, I did go around the entire hamlet, which is my division, is the hamlet itself. Every single door I knocked on in this hamlet, bar a couple kind of thing. So yeah.
So I've
Yeah.
got to ask the father son connection question here for a second, if you don't mind, because
Sure.
your father had an amazing career in federal politics. First being elected in '93, I think you said yes,
93. Yeah.
'93, and then retiring in 2015 basically retire after a long career. Was there any advice that you asked him for to make your career in politics as successful as his, or did he instill any advice onto you to say, if you're going to do it, make sure you do this? What was the advice that you and your dad talked about?
But we still talk quite a bit about
I should say, yes, you
things
still talk, but
going
was
on.
there any advice that
Yeah,
he
no, but
gave
I
you at
mean,
the beginning?
about even about dealing with politics and stuff. He was always he's more optimistic than me, and he's more I'm going to say even keeled than me. And he always it was always it's not about you. It has to be about the people that elected you and the people that you're representing when you do that. And he was always good that way. Like even down to little things like he was he allowed to fly business class, but never did. He always flew economy unless he could use free points or whatever from the frequent flyer type thing. But he always knew who put him in that role, and he always knew how you were supposed to treat that role. You were in service to the people that elected you. It is never that you're up on a pedestal kind of thing. It is you are there to represent the people that put you there and represent all the people of your constituency or your area. So we always talked a lot about that. And the other thing he always instilled in me is listening to people and listening to the upset people. And even if they don't, if they're not making sense at the time, just making sure you take that time and listen to them. And that part I've always I was saying I'm going to listen to that, and I always listen. I always take that to heart and try and live that too. So yeah, I've had upset people in my driveway, and it's if they've taken the effort and the time to come and see you, then they need to be heard.
So,
So
how important is
yeah.
it for you to listen to both sides of the equation? Because I can imagine after a year in elected office at the municipal table, you've had to make some tough decisions. You've had to make some decisions that are going to upset some people, and it's just the name of the game. You're never going to please 100% of the people, no matter what decision you make. when you make those decisions, how important is it to listen to both sides of the equation, but also tell both sides of the equation the same thing when about why you made that decision? Because there's often a sense that politicians will say one thing to one group of people and one thing to another group of people. We need sincere, honest politicians who are going to speak directly and say the same thing to both groups, those who are against or in favor of any motion. So for yourself, communication seems to be key. How do you ensure that people understand the decisions you make, even if they are going to affect the people that you make them against?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in one of the I'm going to say the easiest division roles in this RM in that I have a guidance board. So because it's an organized Saskatchewan, I sit on the RM council, but I'm also in the Hamlet board. It's three other wonderful people that sit on that board with me. So when I bring forward a decision of what the Hamlet is looking to do, or what the Hamlet is, with their from the Hamlet, it's not even just me. It's not even just people I talk to. We make motions at the board. They're not legally binding in the sense because of the RM, but I have a group of people that are also out to people in the community and such. So I'm going to say it's wonderful having that board, and it gives me such that I just carry forward the message that we decided as a group, and that really it really makes it simple for me to be able to go out and speak to anyone, say, why did you make that decision? Well, these are, and I can state the reasons why, but it's also, we made that decision as a group. And that has a whole other place that if you want to come and see how we do it, it's always an open meeting. It's at the local community center once a month. And there's always that opportunity for everybody to be involved. And we have a group of people that make those decisions. So it really makes it quite simple when I go forward to the RM table itself.
But when you're when you're around that table in your role as a counselor, you can't make decisions just based on your division. You have to look at the RM as a whole and what is going to benefit the needs of the many. And sometimes that means the needs of the few, which would be your division, might miss out on some budgetary items. I know you've only passed one. They're probably going to be passing another one here shortly. But
Yeah.
when you look at individual issues, you have to look at it as a RM issue, not a Division One, Division Four, Division Six issue. So when you look at those issues, do you always put yourself in the role of what's best for my residents of my division or what's best of the residents of the RM?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have to balance both of those. It has to be like the oath I swear is to the residents of the RM, which of course my division has residents of that RM in it. So you have to weigh both together. But when it comes to the RM decisions itself, I'm going to say in most cases, in a lot of the cases, what we're doing here in the Hamlet is not outside of what the rest of the RM would do. It's not I'm going to say a direct farming community like most of the rest of the RM, but a lot of the people in the Hamlet here work at local farms and grew up on the local farms. So it's not totally separate from those two. They kind of meld together. And you said that you're sitting at the table. That's another conversation. I don't actually sit at the table. I'm only allowed to attend meetings by Zoom currently, and we can go into that with you if you'd like. But yeah, it's
So do you mind giving us the reason why? Because I read a report that says that you do have to attend the meetings virtually via Zoom. Do you mind telling the people who are listening the reason? It may be
yeah.
the Coles note, and maybe we'll get into
I'll
this
give
at a
you
later date, maybe down the
yeah. We'll
line.
get
But
into this
give me the Coles note
absolutely.
version, so that because you've opened up Pandora's box, so people are going to say, "Chris, you
Yeah,
should have followed up." Go ahead.
yeah, yeah, and we will follow up as much as you'd like to. I'm an open book when it comes to this, but just over 6 years ago, I was banned from all RM property, so which included the RM council hall itself, all the parks in my community, parks that I built with my own two hands. Previous to that, skating rink in the community hall. I was banned from all of it, and it's because I started looking into certain financial transactions and certain decisions that were made by the RM that were not made in an appropriate way, and I pushed And when the pushback came, I didn't just quit. I kept looking into it. And what ended up being was that I was banned. And the easiest way for me to stop asking questions was to just prevent me from having the ability to go and actually look and gather the information at the local RM office. Most of it's been relaxed. I can now, take my children skating at the local park. I can go to the parks, get my mail, which I was limited from, and also attending the hamlet meetings at the local community center here. The only thing that's, I'm going to say, the only place that's left from the ban is where I need to represent the people that elected me, which is at that RM building itself. I am still limited from going there. I cannot go. So I have to attend meetings by Zoom like we are now. And it is not the best way to represent people. It is not the best way to represent the people that elected me. And they've been asking me to resolve it. So I've been working on that, but it has yet to be resolved today.
Well, we will certainly follow up, and we'll have a follow-up sit down for our other show, Municipal Affairs, in the month of November.
Absolutely.
So later on. So
yeah,
be sure to tune into that. But I want to talk, because while you are virtually representing the people that have elected you at the council table virtually, the issues of your council need to be addressed. So we are going to talk about the issues that are going on in the RM right now and what you see. But before I do that, I want to preface this, as I always do, because if not, I will get at least 1 or 2 emails from somebody by saying this. This is a conversation between the councillor and myself. This is not a motion of council. This is not a direction of council. This is not even a policy of council. This is his opinion and his opinion alone. Now, it may line up with what's going on at council, but at the end of the day, it's still his opinion, and he needs a majority of votes around that council table to pass, to reject any policy or direction of administration. So with that being said, remember, if you have any concerns, please send them to me, because again, this is our conversation. This is not a council conversation. It's his opinion. I will get at least one more. I will get at least 1 email knowing that already.
I hope I do. I don't mind getting them. So,
Councillor, at the beginning of November, end of October when we're recording this, but at the beginning of November 2025 when this airs, what do you see as the biggest challenge or challenges that the RM of Rosthern faces today?
And we have 450 kilometers in this RM of gravel roads. So, and a lot of those, and for an RM, a very large population, being as close as we are to Saskatoon. A large population compared to a lot of other RMs. There's intensive livestock operations in the RM and other things like that. So really maintaining those gravel roads, getting the gravel to maintain the roads, it's not as easy as it used to be to even get gravel. I know that you think you drive by and you see gravel pits everywhere, but it's a real problem for our RM. And just keeping the maintenance up on those roads, and that falls back onto manpower. We have an actual manpower problem with having people. That the people that we do have are wonderful in the RM, the work they put in, but it's just hard keeping them. And I don't know all the reasons why, but I think proximity to Saskatoon and stuff, the availability of other jobs and stuff for the work that they're doing is just something that seems to play into it. But
so let's play in the sandbox for a second for gravel roads, because it seems like every rural municipality leader in Saskatchewan I talk to, this is a concern. Now, I don't know the exact number of what your budget is every year, but I can imagine it is not enough to pave every single road and grade every road and make sure gravel is down on every road. How do you see yourself as council and as councillor advocating for better roads in the RM?
I mean, I've been attending the Minister of Highways held a meeting in Warman it was a few months ago, kind of thing, and being present at that meeting and just kind of advocating for the RM. So it's getting the gravel here and then getting it down is the big, I can say, the big issue. So it's discussing with the Ministry of Highways, because the province also has gravel pits in the province. So you can have that synergy with the province if you take the time to talk to them and work on and let them know what issues you're having. I'm going to say they're aware, of the different problems and stuff with the roads, but of course their focus is different. So you kind of have to make sure that ship gets steered back towards problems that are specific to you. You know, the ministry is looking at highway interchanges and stuff near cities and access to highways and problematic intersections and stuff. But that doesn't take away from the issues that we're having in the RM and just making sure that they're hearing that issues from us as well is very important.
So what's the fix? What's the fix to make sure that in 1 year's time, if I said, Gabriel, counselor, let's have a conversation about roads again, and you come back to me and say it's the exact same position we are today, what would be that magic fix from the province or even from the RM to ensure that this issue is not an issue in 1 year's time?
If they could if they found a magical gravel pit somewhere or dug it out and they're looking, they do, we're looking as a RM and stuff. But if there was, if the province basically came and said, we have done our exploring and found all this gravel and it's local, so you don't have to truck it, because a big part of the cost of the gravel is getting it to the RM and then getting it onto the roads. That's a huge part of the cost of it. So if there was a way that the province helped out with that, or there was, some type of that the highway trucks or the highway departments, help stockpile it or something, I think that would be a big help kind of thing. So
I'm going to burst your bubble here for a second. I'm going to burst your bubble quite hard here. It's probably not going to happen. They're probably not going to find a gravel pit tomorrow morning. So what does the RM have to do in the short term to wait for the long-term solutions from either the province, the federal government, or even the municipality itself? What are you doing right now to ensure that this doesn't become a bigger issue in 3 months' time?
Well, I mean, one thing that we're looking at doing is actually stockpiling more than what's required for the next construction season. So that's something that the RM Council has already where we're talking about it and doing. So taking inventory on what we have. Before it was kind of a little guess. I'm saying before, I'm talking in years past as well, but actually taking the topographical surveys of the gravel piles and knowing how many yards we have, and then knowing how many yards we are planning on doing for the next year, and making sure that we stockpile it when we can. You can say when you need it, it's the worst time to be looking for it. So having it available before you need it is going to limit the cost and help out with that. So that's something we're doing in the short term and leading into the next few years is having a surplus on hand. So you can control, when prices of gravel, trucking, things like that. So you can, help smooth those wavy seas. So
when you're looking at that, then you mentioned that challenge, but you also mentioned the challenge of recruitment and retention of staff members.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna again try not to burst your bubble too hard. The RM of Rosthern is not the only municipality that's having that issue, so it is not a unique issue for yourself. What makes the RM an attractive place to work? Because people will look at different communities and say, okay, do I want to work for the municipality? 20 years ago, heck, 30 years ago, you would get a job at the municipality and it would be a long-term retirement job. Now it's a 3 to 4 years and then you're going off to the next municipality, you're going to X, Y, or Z. So what is the RM doing to try to attract the best of the best when it comes to municipal staff?
Yeah, and I'm going to limit this to like the construction and staff like that. We have a very steady staff in the office, a very good staff in the RM office. So for the construction side, I think, and what we've done at various companies I've worked at is hiring people. I'm going to say younger and training them to do it. You won't keep them all, but it's a much better way of doing it. You basically can mold them into what you need for a staff. If you think you're going to get a senior person and in the RM just can't be competitive on some of the bigger construction companies and stuff. So it's finding that person that already lives in the area, wants to live in the area, grew up in the area, that can take on and learn from that, I think is where the focus should be moving forward. And then, yeah, I think that's the main thing. And then making sure that we keep the employees that we have as best we can. and it might be looking at different ways of keeping them and stuff too. If it can't always be always a money conversation, but there has to be more flexibility and things like that if that's what it takes. So
Now
yeah,
I know you just said the two top issues, and I want to continue playing in the issues of staff, but I'm very cautious of time, and I want to make sure I get in
yeah,
this part
okay.
because there's a conversation that I'm hearing a lot from rural municipal leaders, not just in Saskatchewan, but in Alberta, Manitoba as well, and that is the issue about rural crime. I know your proximity to Saskatoon makes you a little bit more closer to an average detachment RCMP or even sheriffs than most other rural municipal leaders. But is rural crime an issue in the RM, or is it a further rural issue compared to your rural status? Oh, and I've lost you again. And I've lost you again. Testing one, two, three, one, two, three, one, two,
It was this
three.
time.
What? Was it me again?
I said, yeah. Well, I don't know. You
Okay,
froze.
so yeah, I guarantee
Yeah,
you. Anyway, so let's try that question again because
yeah,
I think you just froze again. And you're freezing.
yeah.
Nope, there we go. Cut back
Oh,
in.
am I back?
No, you're back
These
now.
troopers.
Cut out, cut in.
Yeah.
I want to just quickly jump into one area that I'm hearing not just from rural Saskatchewan municipal leaders, but across Western Canada. And that is the issue about rural crime. Now, your proximity to Rosthern, the town, but also the city of Saskatoon, may not be a big issue, but are you hearing from residents that rural crime is an issue?
I'll break that into two pieces. In our hamlet, we had, I'm going to say back when I was on hamlet board, that was a few years ago now, but we did have I'm going to say a bit of a crime spree in the hamlet itself. And what we did at that time is we made a decision as a hamlet to put in streetlights. That was one of the projects that we took on at that time. And we also, someone also set up at that point a community Facebook page, and that really helped. The lighting, people leaving their lights on, and the street lights. It kind of kept, like, we're right on the highway that runs between Saskatoon and Prince Albert, and that's where the problems were coming off the highway essentially and coming through the community. So at that time, what we did was put up streetlights. That was our solution at the time. And then just when people see something that they're not, that they don't think is correct, putting that message out on the Facebook thing, putting that message out on the community bulletin boards, kind of thing, saying, "Hey, saw this vehicle, saw this person," and then someone say, "Well, that's my cousin, uncle. They were in town doing this or whatever." But it truly did help to keep less problems in the hamlet itself. As for the rest of the RM, yeah, it's increasing like anywhere else. We see the reports and such that come from the RCMP. There's theft and things like that. But I think it's there's a lot of the programs through Rural Crime Watch and things like that they have ongoing all the time. So it's something that everybody's aware of, and they just kind of keep an eye out for their neighbors a little bit more maybe than they did before, kind of thing. Yeah, I think that's what we're doing.
And the other area I want to just quickly touch on, because I know the
Yeah.
RM is a big agriculture producing community. We are seeing the ongoing trade challenges that are going on with us in the United States, us in Canada. Have you seen any impact locally on the trade challenges with your agricultural farmers or agricultural producers, being cattlemen, ranchers, or farmers over the last year, or has it been not as impactful as many media reports may have said?
I'm not going to be the total authority on this.
But you're the
I just say,
elected official. You should be authority on
yes,
everything. Come on,
yeah,
Gabriel.
yeah, exactly. But some of the other counselors could speak at length about this, and I really encourage you to engage them as well. But yeah, it's affected. It's affected input costs. I'm going to say quite a bit. It's, of course, having the canola with China and stuff. It has affected the prices as well. Everything's just the inputs. Everything's way more expensive to get and stuff. So yeah, of course it affects. But I am not the authority on farming stuff. And before I put my foot in my mouth, I'll just keep it out of my mouth and saying
A
there are people
truthful
that know
politician
way
who
more
doesn't
than
like
I
to
do.
answer a question. I'm just shocked.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Shocked, I
yeah.
said. Okay.
And my father-in-law will probably be a little bit upset with that answer too. He farms out in Alberta, pretty big farmer there too, and he would. But yes, of course, it affects everything when you have trade problems and tariffs on things, inputs, coming out of the states and everything else. Of course, there is. So yeah.
So I want to flip the original script and the original question about the challenges. And now I know that every municipality has their own unique challenges, has their own unique issues. But the one thing that we often don't talk about enough when it comes to municipalities, the things that we do right, the things that we are proud of, because the things that are negative always sell the newspaper columns, but the things that we are proud of don't. But I want to stop doing that, and I want to start talking about the things that we are proud of. So for yourself, as a counselor who's been there for a year, what is the thing that you look at your community and go, you know what, we have these challenges, but we have this going for us? What's that X factor that makes you proud to represent your community?
This whole area, and a reason why I chose to move here with my wife and children at the time, was it's close enough to, if you need to commute to Saskatoon and work in Saskatoon, which I work around Saskatoon at the mines, and my wife works in Saskatoon, but it's far enough away that you still have what I consider the perfect country living. I can ATV out of my yard. I can snowmobile out of my yard. Right across the highway is the provincial snowmobile trail system. When my kids go out, I don't ask where they're going, because it's just such a safe community that I don't feel the need to. And so that's especially, I'm going to say, but the whole RM, just that outdoor agricultural setting that is more affordable than living in Saskatoon as well. So to me, it's the perfect place. We live on the highway with access. There's city water here, so you're not have a problem with that and things like that, and far enough away that you can kind of do what you want and nobody bothers you when you're doing it. So this is a perfect place for me, and I feel for a lot of people that live here too. So that's the part they like about it. So
Is
I
it the
hope that
type of
answers your question.
it does? Is it the type of
Yeah.
community that you know where your kids are every night because all their bikes are on their front lawn of the neighbor's house? You go, oh, there, that's where they are.
Yeah. There absolutely is a lot of that, and or you can tell by what dog is barking where they are and stuff, and things like that as well. Absolutely. So
Can't get
yeah, it's an
anything by
absolutely
a dog. That's all I
wonderful,
say.
wonderful place. Yeah, yeah.
I
So
want to turn though because I want to turn to my last subject, and it's my favorite
sure.
subject. It's my favorite subject because I've made a pledge. If you come on this show, I come to your community. So it maybe not be happening during the winter time because I don't like driving in winter. But next summer, I'm going to be doing a tour of
Yeah.
Saskatchewan. I will be making a stop in the RM, so hopefully we can grab a coffee while I'm up there. But what are some of the tourist
Please.
draws? What are the things that people can do at night in the RM of Rosthern? Because you talk about ATVing, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that in the city of Calgary, but I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's actually where my twin brother lives, is in Calgary. So he feels that same thing. He wishes he could sometimes, but there's, I mean, one of the there's a few different things. There's a few different like, and it's got everything country sales. So they have these sales. It's twice a year, and there's craft shows in the hamlet and things like that. But there's this everything country sale where you can buy everything from a jar of jam to a pig. Literally, you can buy ducks, pigs, and crafts that people make, local people, honey, jam, like, and it's just, you just don't get that anywhere else. And then another one that I highly recommend is the Cedar Wheeler Farm, which is it was a farm founded in the 1860s, and now it's in a historical place in the RM. And they have outreach. They have outreach to where local students and even students, students from all around can go there and see what farm life was like, over the last 150 years, kind of thing. They have the old buildings, and they have educational programs, and so that's a huge one. And then of course that the Rosthern, the town itself, the RM surrounds it. So Rosthern has a wonderful train station there that has a wonderful cafe, and there's lots of great things. There's art galleries in Duck Lake and things like that as well. So I think there's all kinds of things that are, if not right in the RM, are within the boundaries of the RM to come and see too. And it's just, if you actually want to see stars, you come out to the arm of Rosthern. You take one of the gravel roads anywhere at night, and you will actually see stars. Like that's one of the things that we absolutely adore as well. That we go out our door and look at the stars, and you just can't see that close to the city. So um,
You're
there's
making
lots of
me
dairies, lots of
you're making
farms.
me
Yeah.
just like thrive and like salivate over the fact that I want to live in that type of setting. So
Yeah.
thanks, I
Well,
think.
and I'm like the other 2,300 people in the RM, give or take, are that fortunate to live in such a wonderful place. So yeah.
So where's the spot that you can go after a long day of council meetings, after a long day of work? Is there a spot particularly in the community that you say, if I need to decompress, you're going to find me here? And I'm going to sort of preface it by saying you can't
Not my
say your
yard.
own house.
Yeah.
You can't say your house. Every municipal leader wants to say, you have watched this show.
Okay, there's two places. So my two favorite places to go, that way you'll find me after after work and stuff, is I go down to the South Saskatchewan River. The arm of Rosthern rests between the North and the South Saskatchewan River. Just east of me is the South Saskatchewan River. So I will go down there and spend time just by the river, just hanging out, enjoying how peaceful it is and quiet and things like that. And then the other place I go to is probably my neighbor's shop, where we solve all the problems on a Friday night, around his table and things like that. But I have many neighbors I'll go spend time with, but the neighbors in this whole hamlet and the block are just absolutely wonderful. So you will find me in one of their places. We'll call it solving problems, but
So my
yeah.
final question before I let you, actually, I'm going to add a next second question because hopefully you
Sure.
don't mind. But a year into your term in office, is it what you expected? Looking back a year ago when you put your name on the ballot, looking to where you are today, is the role of councillor what you expected, even though you had that previous kind of knowledge as a Hamlet advisor, but also as a son of an MP? Is it what you actually thought it was going to be like?
It actually is. I also attended, like, for the last, oh geez, even being banned from the building itself. I've attended Zoom meetings now, every single one for the last 6 years. Like I'm just involved. Like I just pay attention. And so, yes, it is exactly what I thought. Other than I thought once I was elected, they would allow me to be back at the table. And again, we can talk about that more. We will, and I'm working on it. But yes, it is exactly what I thought it would be. It's getting calls from people in my hamlet, getting calls from with problems, going to see them, doing whatever I can to solve those problems, making decisions at the hamlet board level about roads, because we get to kind of do our own road thing here, which we have, I'm going to say paved. We haven't paved them all, but we've oiled them all. We've controlled the dust basically in the hamlet and stuff, and made it just a wonderful place to be able to walk around, ride your bikes, go to the parks that are here and stuff. So it is kind of what I expected. So
That's
it's
awesome.
wonderful. It's
So,
wonderful. I get to meet even more people than I knew before, and that part I really enjoy. So
and it shows you
yeah.
how small of a world this world actually is. A guy who lived in Lloydminster, who chatted with the MP at the time of Vegreville Wainwright, I think the name of the riding was.
Was
That
it at that point he had Lakeland, Baker, Will Wainwright? He had a
he
few
had
different
about, yeah,
names and
exactly, and
situations.
then
Yeah, yeah,
doing a show about municipal politics, getting invited to an event down in Regina where you and I
yeah,
met. Who would have thought this would have happened? Small, small world that we live in. So my final
yeah,
question for you, counselor, before I let you go, and it's
yeah.
the all important $1 million question. In your opinion, what makes the arm of Rosthern such a great place to live, to work, and to raise a family?
It's the outdoor piece of it. It's the so close to nature all the time, part of it. That to me, that is the ultimate thing. You have, like, it's in the hamlet here itself. It's 1 acre bigger, and just having that space and having that freedom. It's a safe, free place to live, and that makes it just the most wonderful place in Canada as far as I'm concerned. So yeah.
Well, Counselor, I so appreciate you sitting down with us and talking about yourself, talking about the RM.
Yeah,
And I look forward to future conversations with you because I can imagine
we
we're
will
going to
have
be
them.
talking a few times. But I appreciate this. And from the bottom of my heart, say hello to your father because I remember him being
I
very nice
will.
to me when I was a reporter back in Lloydminster Source. So thank you so much for doing this. Greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Cross Border Interviews. Now, we hope you've enjoyed today's conversation and gained some valuable insights into the world of municipal politics in the province of Saskatchewan. Now, if you want to learn more about the people and the communities that we feature on this show or our sister shows, visit us online at crossbordernetwork.ca. Your support means the world to us. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform, or if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button there. And if you can, share this episode with your friends, your family, and yes, even your community, and help keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and we will be back with a brand new episode of Cross Border Interviews shortly. Till then, everyone.